So that's what it is. The reason being is that when we're committing an act of murder where I kill one person, obviously it's not mass murder because I've only killed one. Where I've killed a person, I've waited 2 weeks, killed another person, I've waited 3 months, killed another person, I waited another year, killed another person, that's not mass murder, that's an instance of serial murder, right? And then you could talk about serial killers, serial murderers, and so on and so forth. And there's a whole field of research just for that. When we're talking about mass murder, what we're talking about is at least the death of 4 consecutive individuals, bam, 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 4 people killed within relatively short period of time, and that act was done with the intent to kill these people, right? To be clear, however, the act is not the intent, like the intent to destroy in whole or in part, right? Just the intent to kill somebody. You know that I'm not going in there shooting BB guns. I'm going in there to kill. Perfect example, I forget the guy's name. I think it was Cho from the Virginia Tech killings 2 or 3 years ago. You know, went into the auditorium, barricaded himself in, chain linked the whatever, the doors, loaded himself up with guns and knives and started killing everybody, right? That's obviously an act of mass murder. More than 4 people were consecutively killed. He had the intent to kill them, and he obviously ended his own life in committing an act of suicide. So, with respect to mass murder, we obviously see the definition of mass murder. There may be some questions now. Well, what's the distinction between mass murder and genocide? If we're talking about the foundations of genocide, I think the most important thing is to see that these things, at least according to me, and there are many theorists who support this, not every theorist would support my argument, but many theorists do support this argument, that these are not interchangeable, right? A crime against humanity is specifically different from an act of genocide, is specifically different from a war crime, is specifically different from ethnic cleansing, is specifically different from mass murder. And these 5 concepts, to be sort of technical in our analysis, to be very sort of methodical and rigorous in how we process our argument, they should not be interchanged because we have the problem of equivocation, right? And just quickly, if you're not sure what an equivocation is, imagine the following argument. A bat is a mammal, okay? And that's true. It has wings, it flies around, uses echolocation. So a bat is a mammal. A bat is used to hit a baseball, and that's true. So a bat is a mammal is true, and a bat is used to hit a baseball is true. Therefore, the conclusion I can draw is, well, therefore a mammal is used to hit a baseball. Though it is true you can use a mammal to hit a baseball, that's not what we mean. We've conflated, right? We meant to say like a bat, like a regular baseball bat is what we use, right? I've conflated the term bat. I've used the term bat to mean both mammal and the word bat to mean a baseball bat. So I've made an equivocation. You don't want to equivocate in the use of terms when you're constructing argument, because if I say genocide in a sense of ethnic cleansing, and then I say genocide in a sense of a crime against humanity, the reader's reading it thinking that a genocide is both ethnic cleansing and a crime against humanity because I've equivocated in how I'm using the term genocide. So it's absolutely important, at least for me as a philosopher, to make sure that when I'm using terms, I'm using the terms properly, but not only properly, not succinctly, using them consistently, using the term consistently in the same manner, right? I'm not changing the meaning of the term. I mean bat in this sense to mean mammal, I mean bat in this sense to mean baseball bat, and then I draw a conclusion that sort of creates this bizarre hybrid account that a mammal is used to hit a ball, right? You don't want to do that. You don't want to commit the fallacy of equivocating. That's what I mean by equivocation, and this is why I've sort of gone through the process of delineating the terms so that we avoid the problem of equivocation. Okay. Okay, so, excuse me. The last thing that I want to do is, I've constructed this table, and you know, I'm putting my neck on the line a little bit, but I don't really care, no pride. I've constructed this table using the 5 concepts that I just discuss, right? Crimes against humanity, genocide, ethnic cleansing, mass murder, and war crimes, right? Those five terms, those five concepts, and I've constructed this table just as a good pedagogical tool to show you sort of the distinctions in concepts, right? I am in no sense making any claim that this table is exhaustive, that explains all of instances under every single circumstance. This is just a general. This is a general presentation that's meant for sort of public consumption, public education, so that's my only little disclaimer, right? Just take it with a grain of salt. Okay, so we'll label it 1 through 5. Actually, let me bring this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first is crimes against humanity. Next is genocide. The next is war crimes. Next we have ethnic cleansing. And then lastly we have mass murder. Okay. So I was thinking of a way to show and demonstrate not only in words but sort of visually the distinctions in these ideas. We'll put targeting, intent to destroy, and we'll put intent to destroy requires collective organization. And then lastly, requires the act of killing. Okay, so we have our 5 concepts: crimes against humanity, genocide, war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and mass murder. And then we have these 1, 2, 3, 4 different labels: targeting, the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. Required, this particular act requires collective organization, group effort, requires the act of killing. In order to have one of these, in order for one of these to manifest, there must be an act of killing or acts of killing. Okay, so let's first do, I'll just go across, actually I'll go down columns first. So targeting. Crimes against humanity. Is there targeting in crimes against humanity? Well, yeah, right? In a crime against humanity, it might be the case that I target a particular population, right? I might not have the intent to kill these individuals, right? I might not have the intent to kill these people. I might commit, let's say, acts of torture on individuals, right? But I've selected and I've targeted a group of individuals for whatever reason that will be subject to sort of my depravity, right? So is targeting expressed in crimes against humanity? Yes. Is targeting expressed in genocide? Well, yes, right? Which now we can see why they're so closely related, right? Both genocide and crimes against humanity, not in all instances, have instances of targeting. War crimes, are there targeting in war crimes? Yes, right? Individuals are targeted in war crimes. When we're talking about war crimes, it might be, for example, let's imagine that I go into myself and a battalion of men storm into a small village, and I gather up all the women, and we commit a horrible act of mass rape, right? I've targeted a group of women, right? And then I've committed this crime against humanity, specifically non-combatant immunity, thus I've committed an act of war crime, right? Ethnic cleansing, obviously so, because it's ethnic, right? I've targeted them based on their ethnicity. And acts of mass murder, is it the case that acts of mass murder there's targeting? Well, technically no, right? You might have acts of mass murder where there's targeting, but you have many examples. The example of Cho that I just gave was sort of indiscriminate killing. He walked into an auditorium, barricaded himself, and killed basically anybody he could kill.